Are you the tough boss or are you the nice boss? Welcome to another episode of Unbecoming with Elena Joy. There is a certain kind of stuckness that a whole lot of leaders are in right now. They want to do right by their people, and they need the work to get done. And somewhere in between those two, they're frozen. The story they're telling themselves is, I can either be the boss that gets things done, or I can be the one that makes everybody happy. Pick one. And because that choice is impossible, they're frozen. They're not doing anything. I'm here to offer a different map because that binary isn't real. And the proof is in the story. I ran into an old friend at one of my kids' school events. We're going to call her Alex. Alex owns 3 successful small businesses. Each one of them are those custom cookies and bespoke sodas treat shops. They're very successful. Alex loves it, has been going 10 years plus. Right now, she's completely overwhelmed by 2 things. First, her frontline employees, who are mostly Gen Z, constantly calling out. And second, her managers, who refuse to address it with them. Alex is sure that this is a Gen Z problem and definitely feels like there's nothing she can do about it. Now, Gen Z does have something real going on. They have a genuine capacity to prioritize their mental well-being that previous generations like you and me, we didn't have. Now, our feelings about that reality, that's the subject for another video because today that is not the problem. Their capacity to prioritize their mental well-being has yet to be matched by the ability, the skill to communicate what's impacting their mental well-being. So you get the call, I can't come in, but with no context that helps anybody do anything about it. And at the same time, most frontline managers have never been given the tools to create the conditions where that kind of communication can actually take place. This is a new workforce reality that's running headfirst into an undertrained middle layer. That's a different problem than Gen Z doesn't want to work. And luckily, there's an actual solution to this one. Alex pointed me to her store manager who was struggling the most. We're going to call him Brayden. Now, Brayden was not a bad manager. Brayden really cares about the success of their career and about the young adults on their team. But no one had ever taught Brayden how to hold care and accountability at the same time. In their experience, they were always at odds. You were either the tough boss or the understanding one. No one had ever taught Brayden in practice that doing both at the same time is actually the whole job. And you can see that this is the same binary that Alex, the owner, had in their head, but this is just from the manager's perspective. And it creates the same paralysis. The first thing I taught Brayden is that in order to change reality, we have to actually see reality. And that means finding the data, not emotions or perspectives or feelings, data. We pulled the numbers for the attendance for the shifts. And the worst offender that Alex, the owner, had in mind, we're going to call her Sarah. Yeah, it turned out she was calling out about 25% of her shifts. That was real. But what else was real was so was everyone else at about the same rate. Sarah wasn't an outlier. In fact, the 2 outliers were 2 people who almost never called out. And they weren't getting any recognition for it because everyone was so focused on the problem. Alex and Brayden were getting ready to really rip into Sarah instead of addressing the actual problem. Luckily, the data changed that. Using data, Brayden and I created a system. Now, when an employee calls out 3 times in 1 quarter, they're automatically scheduled for a one-on-one with Brayden. And in that meeting, Brayden knows how to reiterate access to mental health resources that the company provides. They also know how to express genuine confidence in that employee's ability to show up and experience their own success. And they end it with a killer question that opens up so much. What is a barrier to your success that I can help remove? It's not accusatory and it's not soft. It's a brilliant coach move that allows Brayden to out loud hold the belief that the employee is doing the best they can in that moment and they can do better, both at the same time. non-binary thinking. Non-binary thinking creates safety. In Brayden's one-on-one with Sarah, Sarah disclosed something that there's a coworker that she doesn't get along with real well, and it makes it harder for her to come to work. Nothing egregious, nothing real harmful or HR worthy. Sarah just shared, we're kind of like oil and water. And when I'm already struggling to come in for my shift, knowing they're going to be there makes it even harder. That's just being human, not a special snowflake. Now, Brayden could have responded with, all right, this is just employee drama. I don't need to get involved. But instead, Brayden went back to the data. And the data said about 50% of the shifts that Sarah had called out on, she was scheduled with this coworker. The data said it wouldn't be a big deal to make a slight schedule change for the next quarter so that they weren't working the same shift. There's no HR escalation, there's no drama, but everyone gets to experience the impact they want to have. Fewer callouts. Brayden made it safe for Sarah to disclose something she felt kind of vulnerable about. That disclosure created data, and that data created a solution. But none of this would have happened if Brayden had gone into that one-on-one with Sarah with guns blazing. And it certainly wouldn't have happened if Brayden did nothing at all. From our work together, Brayden grew into an incredible manager who never felt the need to shy away from a tough conversation because someone finally gave them the tools. These are skills like non-binary thinking, sourcing solutions from data, and really creating safety for Gen Z specifically. That's it. That's the whole story. If you're in that stuck place of wanting to do right by the next generation, but having no idea how to do that while still keeping the lights on, there is a way through, I promise. And your managers can navigate it. They just need the right map. I love teaching skills like this to middle managers. So if your organization could use some highly skilled middle managers, let's talk. You can book a time at latitudeleaders.com/contact. I hope this was helpful for you. Be good to yourselves, fam. I appreciate you.